Good evening. My name is Catherine Sexton. This is my Week 2 presentation, Early Theories of Public Administration. The two theories that I decided to share with you this week is that of Frederick Taylor and Max Weber. Frederick Taylor believed that if we took a large task and break it up into small tasks and assign those to different people, then we could be more efficient. He also believed that in taking the large task and making those into smaller tasks and training that person, instead of say taking a month to train a person to do one job and it only takes a couple of weeks, then we're being more cost effective. He also believed that people are replaceable. Max Weber, his theory was based on that there was a formal hierarchy of command was needed, that we need to be managed by rules and regulations, and there's a division of labor and work specialization. In order to show you their theories, I decided this week to go with the local community college here. In the high desert, our local community college is Copper Mountain Community College District. I worked there for 4 years, so I have a little bit of knowledge on how the different departments work. Since leaving there 2.5 years ago, there's been a little bit of change that has happened. So let's go through this and I'll point out where the change has happened and that type of thing. So the whole community college district answers to the board of trustees, and below them is the superintendent president. From here on out, I'll refer to it as president. That's what he was called when I was there. To the right of the president is the marketing and public relations department. We are a small community. I say department, and there's actually one person in there, but she answers directly to the president. Below the president is 6 other departments. All the way to your left is the director of institutional effectiveness. There are no other departments below him. He answers directly to the superintendent/president and the board of trustees. To the right of the director of institutional effectiveness is the chief business officer. She oversees 6 different departments: fiscal services, custodial, security, facilities, warehouse, maintenance/grounds. Within the facilities, warehouse, and maintenance and grounds, there is one supervisor. Everybody under him answers to him. He answers to the chief business officer. Security, custodial, and fiscal services answers to her as well. I think it's important to note that whether or not any of these departments have an actual supervisor or director, each employee basically knows who they answer to and who they report to. The next department to the right of the chief business officer is the vice president of academic and student success. This is where a change came. About 3.5 years ago, the new president, after he came in, he decided that the vice president had too many employees under him. He and the board decided that they wanted to break things up. So the vice president of student services became the vice president of academic and student success, with 3 other deans under that vice president. So that's how we came up with the dean of instruction. Currently, that's an interim position. The woman in that position is an actual professor, a business professor there at the community college, and that's what happens if they have a vacant spot and they have to fill that spot. Then somebody takes that, applies for, usually within, applies for that position and fills that position until a new replacement is found or they've been named that in that position. So below the dean of instruction is the Academic Programs Office of Instruction Copy Center. I do not know if any one of those departments has an actual supervisor or director. I know in the Copy Center that's just one employee. So I don't know if there's that unwritten hierarchy within that department. Under the Vice President of Academic and Student Success is also Academic Affairs. They answer directly to that Vice President. There's base programs, the library, and the Student Success Center. Every one of those departments, those 3, has a supervisor. The Associate Dean of Student Services, that's a little misleading. Student Services, it makes it sound like, oh, what is that? Student Services is actually admissions, records, and financial aid. Within admissions and records, they have a level. So as like with the county, usually like within the district attorney's office, they have victims advocates or a victim witness department. And within that department, they have a victim witness level 1, level 2. So here at the community college, they have an admissions and records clerk, level 1, level 2, and so on. So everybody else is either a level 1 or a level 2, and they all answer to the level 3. As far as financial aid goes, they are financial aid specialists, and they answer directly to this Associate Dean of Student Services, and so on. So then that person to the Vice President, to the Superintendent, to the Board of Trustees. Then we have the Associate Dean of Student Success and Equity. This person oversees counseling, campus experience, transfer center, access, EOPS, care, CalWORKs. Within counseling, there's not a supervisor. There's just kind of like that unwritten hierarchy again. Campus experience and transfer center, that's a completely new department that I have no knowledge of. But the access, EOPS, care, and CalWORKs, those are all either state or federal programs. And so there is a kind of like a caseworker there and a program assistant. So the program assistant answers to the caseworker, who answers to the Associate Dean of Student Success and Equity. To the right, we have the IS director. He oversees the information systems, which is basically anything that's computer. Computers, programming, internet, all of that, he takes care of that. Then we have the Chief Human Resources Officer that oversees human resources and payroll, and the Executive Director of the foundation, and that person oversees the foundation. I chose this organizational chart for one because it does show that the people are replaceable. It also shows that small tasks can be assigned and broken up to be a little bit more effective. For instance, in facilities, warehouse maintenance, and grounds, we have a couple of people who work only in the warehouse. We have people who are only on the maintenance and grounds, even though they're all, and it seems like they're all in different departments, but they're all under one umbrella, really. So then we have the formal hierarchy of command, which you can see here because of the Board of Trustees and the Superintendent and so on, but there's also that unwritten hierarchy of command too. Every one of these departments is managed by rules and regulations. As a whole, the community college has to abide by state laws and federal laws, and then within each department, there's other rules and regulations that they have to go by. Say, for instance, financial aid. In order to give a student their Pell Grant to go to classes, students must meet academic progress and so on. So there's rules on just the Pell Grant, then there's rules on student loans. And at the community college level, then there's what used to be called a BOG waiver. I've heard that it's called something different now. So there's different rules that they have to meet in order to receive their financial aid. So that's definitely a division of labor and work specialization, because say one of the people who works in the library, they couldn't distribute Pell Grant funds. Do the concepts hold up? Concepts that still hold true. In my opinion, the concept of we need to be managed by rules and regulations, that still holds up today. We still have to have those rules and regulations for not only for efficiency, but so that things don't get chaotic. Concepts that do not hold true to me is that competency and not personality should be a basis for a job appointment. Don't get me wrong, I think that you have to be competent to do your job. I would not want to go in to have surgery and have somebody who's not competent doing my surgery. What I'm saying is that not everybody can be a surgeon or a law enforcement officer, an EMT. We all have different personality traits, and that is what helps to make us the people who we are and whether or not we can handle that position. Summary of our theories. Frederick Taylor believed that there was room for efficiency. I think that there's always room to improve efficiency. That small tasks being assigned to each individual helps us to be more efficient, and more cost effective, and people are replaceable. Max Weber believed that there's a formal hierarchy of command. I believe that there's not only a formal hierarchy of command, but there's an informal one as well. That we need to be managed by rules and regulations, and there's a division of labor and work specialization. That's the end of my presentation. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to listening and watching all of yours.